So Xaxis is not only working on video lately, programmatic sale of video, but also audio?
That's correct. We just had a very interesting launch last month about a product called Xaxis Audio. And what that is essentially taking a proprietary DMP called Turbine and the power of the data it brings to a brand new medium, which is digital audio. And digital audio is, I think, a very interesting medium from a branding perspective because it's starting to get really massive scale as services like Spotify or Pandora or others continue to grow. And also, I think it's a very interesting way to grab people's attention. I think with audio, you don't compete on the page with content or with several ad units. You have 100% of the user's attention. And we're doing this product launch in partnership with an audio exchange called DAX, which federates a lot of great radio brands here in the UK, like Capital FM or XFM, Absolute Radio, so very successful commercial radio brands, and marries it together with inventory from the likes of Spotify or Deezer, which are essentially equivalent to services like Pandora in the US. So I think it's a very nascent market here in the UK, but we think it has a tremendous potential for growth. And combining that quality medium in digital ways with the power of our data and technology, I think presents unique opportunities for advertisers.
So people think about the emergence of digital music streaming like Spotify and Pandora and Deezer as a trade-off between ad-funded and consumer payments. If you make ad-funded streaming better, if you make the ads there better, does that mean there's less of an opportunity for people to pay the companies like Spotify, do you think? Will we see more ad-funded?
I don't see it this way. I think, there's many advantages if you go with the full subscription. I mean, I have one personally with Spotify, for instance, and one of them is the ability to take the songs with you on your mobile, even when there's no internet connection. So I think, the providers like the Pandoras and Spotify will continue to differentiate the sort of freemium version from the full paid subscription version enough that they will entice people to sign up. I do think though that for the vast majority, and it is the vast majority of people who still use the services free, if we can make the ads better, it's actually a service we're doing to the people, to the services, and obviously to the consumer as well.
Okay, so give us an idea of the state of the landscape of the UK when it comes to programmatic ads technology. Where is the UK right now? What's going to happen over the rest of the year?
Right. So the UK, I think, continues to be very sophisticated in that space. I think it's really not that far behind, if behind at all, the US when it comes to the sophistication of the players. And when I mean the players, it's both on the supply side, with large publishers being quite advanced in terms of what they're doing to enable their inventory programmatically, as well as obviously on the buy side, which is the side we represent at Xaxis, and basically with large advertisers like Sky or others, really conscious about the benefits that programmatic can bring to them in terms of efficiency and better targeting and adopting this technology. So I think we are already quite mature, you could say, programmatic market. I believe latest projections from the IAB is that it will represent more than 60% of all the display ads being traded in the UK this year. And I think this will continue to grow. A couple of trends happening which I think are interesting. One is certainly consolidation. As the industry continues to mature, one thing that's becoming very apparent is the benefit that scale brings to the table when it comes to programmatic. So scale of your data, but also scale of supply you have access to, and quality supply without issues of fraud or viewability that you can sometimes get in the open exchange. So I think we've started to see consolidation from some of the ad tech players, and we will continue to see that. And likewise, we've seen some interesting development this year in terms of publishers coming together to basically also address the issue of scale and remain competitive with the likes of Google and Facebook in an increasingly programmatic world where data and scale makes the difference.
So with Cannes Lions coming up, what kind of conversations do you expect to be having on the Quizette? It's a conference that has changed a lot over the last couple of years.
It has, yes.
Historically has celebrated creativity. Now we have companies like Xaxis attending to talk about targeting. How do you expect Cannes to go this year?
Well, I think, first and foremost, it is still a festival to celebrate creativity in advertising, and I think that is, still the main focus of the festival, and it should remain that, because at the end of the day, you can have the best targeting in the world if the creative idea behind it and the creative execution is poor. Your campaign is not likely to grab the user's attention, and your brand is not going to cut through the noise. So I think that's a very important part of the industry still. I think this year what will be interesting is the concept of how can the creative industry use data better to customize the message to the audience they're trying to reach, to also make the ads more relevant in real time. I think is starting to gain momentum, and that's a very interesting topic, because I think from a programmatic side and ad tech side, as you rightly pointed out, we've been focusing a lot on targeting, right? Making sure you pinpoint a very small subsegment of the relevant audience. But again, if you do that and still show everybody the same creative message, I think we're under-exploiting the power of programmatic and trying to bridge the gap between creative agencies and ways of thinking of the creatives with the math men or the ad tech side of the house, I think is the next challenge, and whoever solves it will benefit.